Okay, so this is about UPS, United Parcel Service. Now, if you Google online about claims against UPS, you'll find they have a terrible reputation, right? Terrible. Okay. Now, I shipped my household belongings from Massachusetts to Oregon, and in the process, I had a flat screen TV, box with some other things that got damaged. Okay. So I filed. Well, the claim was denied. They said, "Do you have the original box and everything?" I said, "No, not anymore." Right? It was a while after that, and so the denial of claim came, and it said, since you don't have the original box, you packaged it incorrectly and inadequately, and that created the damage. So we denied your claim. See that? That's what it said. Since you don't have the original box access to it, it was obviously packaged inadequately. Honest to God, that's what it said. Okay, so I talked to a supervisor, right? And I said, by the way, Mary or whatever her name was, I said, what happened was I picked that box up. It was like 2 feet by 3 feet by 1.5 feet. I mean, it was a large rectangular box with my personal belongings in it. I said, but it did not look rectangular anymore. It looked like one of those snowballs the kids roll, and it gets kind of flat-sided here and there, kind of roundish though, right? And I said, furthermore, they dropped it back there and they said it sounded like glass breaking, right? And so I said, inside that box, the flat screen TV, facing inward was a screen, and in front of it was a wooden TV screen and bubble wrap to protect the screen, right? Well, the screen looked like it had been bashed in 3 places with a knee, okay? And I have pictures of that. Big knee, just 3 places. I said, furthermore, I had a 16-ounce container of garlic powder, right? Clear plastic with a red top, with one of the things that flips up with holes in it so you can sprinkle it out, right? Well, when I opened the box up for the first time, there was garlic powder all over and around and in and over everything, and there was the container completely empty, and the red top was someplace else in a box, right? I mean, a foot, half, I don't know, someplace else I found the red container, or the red cap, right? How in the world, I asked the agent, the supervisor, I said, how in the world could you get a 16-ounce clear plastic container of garlic powder that had a lid on it and was in a clear plastic bag with some other spices, such that the garlic powder was evenly distributed throughout the entire contents of the box, right? And the box looked like a battered snowball. It must have been dropped from a 5th floor conveyor belt and hit every conveyor belt all the way to the bottom, And how that screen got punched in, I said, I don't know, Well, we had a good laugh about that one, and she reversed the claim deal, right? Okay. Well, one would think that's all well and good. Well, anyway, I owed some shipping charges to UPS because of that move. And I had heard, of course, about the reluctance and reputation of UPS to settle claims, right? So when I filed a claim after the supervisor for $200, which was, if you call it Best Buy, that's what you'd replace one for, and there was no possibility of repairing that thing. And so but it didn't come. So I owed UPS about $300 or something. I'd started to pay it down. I owed them about $331, right? So I thought, well, you know what? They owe me $200. I owe them $330. I'm just going to draw a line under this and set it aside and wait for them to call me. Right? Of course. So call me they did after a bit, right? Who knows how long? I don't know. I just forgot about them. And so they said, well, Mr. Higgins, I said, what are you going to do about the 330? I said, what are you going to do about the 200? You know, you pay me, I'll pay you. You net it out. I mean, UPS owes me 200, I owe you 330. Let's say I owe you 130. How about that? They said, well, we can't do that. I said, well, what can you do? They said, we'll get you right over to the claims department. You know how hard it is to get to a claims department these days? And like within 30 seconds, they had me on the line to the claims adjuster, right? Well, the claims adjuster said, okay, we'll send you a check. Right. Okay, so, no, I'm not going to pay yet. Wait till that check clears, okay? Well, it didn't come. And it turns out they were sending it to a previous address in Massachusetts, right? And so I said, well, let me give you the correct address. And they said, well, we can't do that. Honest to God, no, we can't do that. I said, why not? Because you owe us $330 on the account in Massachusetts. And you have to create a new account in Oregon in order to update your UPS shipping address. Okay. I said, what are you talking about? He said, well, we have different districts, and if you have an account in one, you don't have an account in the other until you open an account in the other, and you can't open an account here until you pay that one off, right? And I said, well, this is very interesting. I mean, this is a little bit absurd. Did you know that UPS is not one corporation? I mean, it's not like you have a bank account with the Bank of America and you go to Massachusetts and you have there your bank account is, right? No. UPS says you owe us money from Massachusetts, and so you can't use us in Oregon. Your account is suspended. And I said, well, guess what? I'm suspending your account with me, and I pay your salary. So, get the cart before the horse here, guys, okay? All right. Anyway, so what I did is they sent me another check, but it went to the old address. So I immediately called up the post office, wondering what had happened to the correct forwarding address, because it said 6 months, and they put the forwarding, took care of the forwarding address, and it caught that check going to Massachusetts, and it forwarded it to my address here. So I thought this was very clever, right? I'm going to get my $200, and we can get moving on this debt. So I go pick it up from the post office, and with great expectations, I open it, and the check says $100. All right, it says 100. UPS sent me a check for $100 after 6 months of all this. $100. I said, you know what I did? I deposited the check, because the check did not say paid in full. Now, you've got to be careful with this, see? It did not say paid in full. It did not say signature, absolve, all other responsibility to UPS. It did not say. It was just a plain check for $100 to me from UPS, okay? So it was safe to deposit it. If you don't like the amount of the check, it's too low, and it says paid in full or anything to that effect, don't sign it, okay? So anyway, all right, okay, so I put in the account. Well, before I put it, I just saw a check for $100, supposed to be $200 after 6 months, and my account is in suspension and all this kind of crap, right? I just wrote down my note on my appointment calendar, UPS small claims court. That's it. I don't know what's the matter with these corporations. That's it. Gonna take them there. $1,500, acting in poor faith. After all that, acting in poor faith.